What is up, guys? We don't have an intro, so we're low-key just gonna get started. Video is really simple. We're doing a NHL mock draft between the three of us, between me, Adeen, Amaan, who's here right now. If he wants to say hello, I don't really care. And then Arjun as well, one of the people that helped me run the Hockey Hotline Twitter. It's a new era on this channel, guys. If you know the previous names of this channel, I will be sending government agents to kill you. So
that was a pass.
So just erase that from your memory, and we'll pretend that you don't know, and we're cool, right? So how this draft is gonna go is we're gonna get started with the third pick, because if you pick anyone else than the two people we've put on the first and second pick, you might actually need to see a doctor. We said the pick belongs to the hockey gods, and we're just gonna start with me for Columbus in the third pick. And I think, I don't know about you guys, I think this pick is relatively simple. I feel like it's just Leo Carlsson. It really just is Leo Carlsson, because while, in my opinion, the two most talented players in the draft are Michkov and Bedard, Columbus is clearly showing that they want to win now, because they're making a lot of moves and stuff like that. There's a lot of organizational pressure. And Carlsson, in my opinion, has probably 1 year left, 1 year of not playing in the NHL, if that, and will definitely be in the NHL. And he also just slots right in. They don't have time to wait for anyone else, and I think objectively Carlsson is better than Will Smith, who has been rumored to take third. I don't think that Smith is better than him, but yeah, that's my take. So it's now Amaan with San Jose.
Alright.
So San Jose, I mean, ideally, at this position, they would pick Will Smith. But for me, and how I see the San Jose Sharks right now, they don't have as strong of a prospect pool as they should. And I think that down the line, all their guys will start coming in 2-3 years. That's when they'll start, maybe 4 when they'll start contending. So I think Matvei Michkov just fits so perfectly. I think he complements Eklund Bordelot perfectly. He's that goal scorer. I mean, I think there's no other guy that they should be going for if Carlsson goes third. But we know how politics is.
I think Michkov could have the second highest ceiling in the draft.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He could be the best player, and I just want to preface this, guys, with the fact that these picks are not what we think is going to happen, because that's just boring. These picks are if we were the GMs of the team, and I also agree with this, because in my opinion, San Jose is not contending anytime soon, so why wait? They're most likely going to wait for 3 years on any North American player they select at this spot, if 2, and Michkov, they're going to wait 3. It doesn't really make a difference, and Michkov, for me,
it fits their
is the most surefire player in the draft other than Bedard.
Yeah, it fits their timeline.
For sure. No, yeah, I don't think San Jose is going to do this IRL. I think they're going to want to try to turn it around quickly.
Which is the wrong way to go.
But if I was the GM of the Sharks too, it just fits. You take Michkov, you rebuild for 3 years. At the end of it, you have Michkov.
Absolutely. And, I feel like a lot of teams are scared of the whole KHL situation, but there was a tweet that I saw, I think a lot of people saw it, where it was like, NHL GMs, when they realized that waiting 3 years for Michkov in Russia is the same thing as waiting 3 years for a North American player. There's no difference. Although you would like to have Michkov, because he could probably be plug and play as an 18-year-old, just like Bedard will be, most likely, because, he's so good. And I got to see him in Frisco play when the last time he played for Russia, and it was amazing. But yeah, so, Amaan, if you want to go ahead and put it in, Michkov.
Oh, yeah. All right. My bad. I thought you were. All right, I'll do it.
Oh, I thought it was.
No, I thought you were. Yeah, hey, I mean.
Right. Okay. So Arjun, you're up now with Montreal.
Okay. So pick 5. I'm always a believer of, especially in the top 5, especially in the top 10, you should pick the best player available no matter what. And Will Smith, I think it makes sense. You have Leo Carlsson and Michkov. You're left with Will Smith, but I'm not the biggest Will Smith fan. I think he's overrated. I liked him when he was ranked around 10, 15. But I don't think he's a top 5 player in this draft. And me personally, I think a guy who's going to drop because of his size should be going here. And if it's Montreal's needs, I'm taking Zach Benson.
Oh, okay. So Benson obviously is a BC native.
I think a lot of teams are interviewing him around the 9, 10, 11 spot. But if I was the GM of Montreal, I'm looking at a center or a forward. Zach Benson can work on his skating a bit, but skating is something you can fix. It's not a big issue. And I just think he just has raw talent, and the only reason he's going to drop is because of his size. So I think that's the perfect pick for Montreal here.
I mean, obviously there's an eye test to it, but I just pulled up his stats. 23 points in 15 games in his D1 year, or D-1, however you want to say it. He
Draft -1,
tore up the playoffs as a draft -1. He tore up the WHL playoffs as a 16, 17-year-old.
Yeah.
It's,
I mean, and
even that alone is.
Ultimately, too, I could see Montreal also going with a forward here. I could see them selecting Ryan Leonard IRL. I think they're gonna surprise us with this pick no matter what. But
yeah,
I would
it
take
could be a
second.
number of.
Ken
ways.
Hughes is the kind of guy who would definitely like throw a curveball for sure. And also, I think a glaring need for Montreal is also might be the defensive side of the puck, which is why I could see them taking Reinbacher at this pick.
Yeah, if we could trade down, I was talking to Amaan before we started recording about trading down, but that's just too much work.
Yeah, that is true. We aren't going to be trading down, but I could see a lot of teams trading down in this draft because
what I would do if we were left to
so
trade
many teams
down,
are
I
gonna
would
be
look to trade down
eager
to
to move
that
up.
around 8-9 area, see if those teams want to move up.
Yeah, in such a strong draft too. The trades like day of, the season after, 5 years after, it's going to be so interesting to look back at.
Yeah, so
just based on how loaded this draft is.
So I'm gonna move forward, and realistically speaking, we made a post the other day. Arizona has, 20 picks in the top 3 rounds in the next 3 years, but I don't think there is a need in this draft for any team much more glaring than the Arizona Coyotes need for defensive prospects. They need them badly. So that's why, and also I think this player is really good. I think he will be a surefire good player in my opinion. I've seen him play in Austria, and I think he plays really well against guys that are, obviously not his age. He's probably one of the brightest defensemen to come out of that league in a while. And I'm going to select Reinbacher here because I know Will Smith is available, but I think Arizona's the type of team that drafts based on need. And that has kind of screwed them over lately. But realistically speaking, they have to draft on need, and they also have to draft on which guys do they think will actually play for their team. Because right now they have a situation with Cooley. I mean, Cooley doesn't really Cooley. Really, I don't even know if he wants to play for that team right now.
Yeah.
So really, on a serious note, though, Arizona just is really a clusterfuck. I just don't see
Yeah.
I agree with that pick too. I think Reinbacher is going to be that defenseman that everybody looks back at this class. I think he has the best raw talent.
Yeah.
Out of anybody, I think, and I think honestly, if Arizona doesn't take him there, I think he's going either 7 or 8.
He'll go 7
Yeah,
for sure.
Arizona.
Yeah.
Arizona's one of those teams that's just like they have no significant bright spot. I mean, yeah, they have Cooley, but it does not look like he's staying there, as Adeen said. I mean,
yeah.
And on top of that, another team, Philadelphia, and I've got their pick. I mean, another team with no. You look at the team, you're like, what are they doing? Like, look at their prospect pool, what are they doing? I mean,
right.
I see this as a team. Obviously, I make a lot of jokes. Like, they seem like the type of team to pick Nate Danielson this high. I don't think he should go anywhere this high. But they seem like the type of team too. But
Nick would be
right here, yeah, he would be very mad. But
I think it's also important to note they have new management.
Danny Briere is
Yeah.
doing good things to start off, for sure.
And as much as, Arjun said he doesn't think Will Smith is good, I think this is the perfect spot for Will Smith.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, yeah, and Philadelphia, I think when you build a team, you look at that center position, and that's that's the first place you look at, and I think that he's works perfect. He's a perfect A-star prospect.
I think he is perfect around this range. I think the mock drafts having him go top 5 are ridiculous, in my opinion. But I always thought he was a 7 to 10 player. That's because he's really good at racking up the points. We saw that in the U18s. He was unbelievable with USA on route to gold in that tournament. And for the NTDP this season, he had 127 points in 60 games. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Unreal.
Him and Gabe Perreault are unbelievable players together.
Yeah.
And he can't drop lower than that. It's just because he has so much hype around him too as a prospect. He might go 3, dude. If he goes 3, though, I will not be saying kind things about the Columbus Blue Jackets That's just
I won't.
ridiculous.
I think that
I don't even think
that
Will
will
Smith
be
was
the
the best
start
player on his team.
of
Yeah.
front management change, executive change for the Blue Jackets. I mean, on that team,
Wait, who are we saying the best player
I
is?
don't want to like talk too much. Well, there's Ryan Leonard on that team, Oliver Moore.
Oliver Moore,
You're high on
Leonard.
Moore, right?
Well, talking about the best player, Washington is the next pick, and I think I'm gonna take who I believe is the best player on that team,
There you
Oliver
go.
Moore. And I think Washington. I think they're eyeing Zach Benson around this area. I mean, Washington could use help anyway. Just had a horrible season. Their prospect pool's not that deep. I think they're eyeing Zach Benson. He gets taken 5. You
They
take the
need a
next best
center
available forward,
for
it's Oliver
sure
Moore.
for the future.
Yeah.
They need a center.
And
badly,
Oliver
because-
Moore, I believe he's better than Will Smith. I was actually thinking of taking him 5 over Benson too. I was considering it. I'm a big Moore fan. I think it's a perfect pick for Washington.
I love that pick.
Yeah.
I don't have any quarrels with that pick. I think the one glaring need Washington has, especially for the future, is center, because
Yeah.
their center core is pretty old. Their best center is Backstrom, and he's getting very old.
Kuznetsov's getting old.
So Ed Kuznetsov's getting a little bit. He's hitting the 30s.
Yeah, he had a very poor down season this year.
He also had a down year, which was a big reason why they have this pick
Yeah.
in the first place. And this is a really good step for them, because obviously they're definitely a team I could see wanting to contend because they have Ovi and they're locked up with him until he retires. But on a serious note, they do have to start building for the future because I don't think they win a cup with this group anymore. There's just no chance for me. I would be shocked if they did. But moving on, we have Detroit, and Detroit. Here's my first question: are we believers in the Eisner plan? Like, you know what I mean? Like, are we?
Lately I'm not on it right now, but we'll see.
Yeah, the Eisner
I'll
plan's
give
looked
it a year or
kinda
two more,
dodgy recently.
but I think it's dying down.
So this pick, obviously, a need for them is winger, for sure. Like they need a winger, but I also think that there is a center on the board who you could play a winger, who's just way too good to pass up at this point, and it's Ryan Leonard. Ryan Leonard falling this low, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
He's a player that you can't pass up at 9. I like Ryan Leonard a lot. I think they could go. They could go for Ryan Leonard. They are also what's it called? Yzerman is never afraid to reach. Reach as far as reach in comparison to what the rest of the people are saying in the draft. He's never afraid to. So, I could be very surprised here, but I think
Ryan Leonard being here, you have to take him. I would have taken him A too. If Oliver Moore was gone, I would have been glad to take him at A. I think he's a great center. A lot of people have been comparing him to Kachuk too. He has that edge to his game, and I think Detroit could use that.
he's a great goal scorer too.
Yeah, I think that edge, that's something that Detroit could really use. I mean, pair him alongside all the other guys they got in their prospect pool. I think Detroit could have a lethal offense, just a lethal team in general.
I agree.
I mean,
They're setting it up right now, but
if they draft right, if this is the draft, if they draft right, then they could be very set for the future.
yeah.
Now
you're up on St. Louis.
St. Louis. On top of that, I mean, when I look at St. Louis's team, I see an overload on right wings, and I see a very a glaring hole at the center's position. I mean, they have Jordan Kyrou and Robert Thomas. They can kind of play center. I mean, if you need them to. But I don't see a pure center. Unfortunately, you picked Ryan Leonard, who I was hoping that I could pick there for St. Louis. But I think now, with who's available, the top centers, Dalibor, Dvorsky, and I think that for St. Louis and what they probably want right now, I'm picking Colby Barlow. NHL ready guys, Colby Barlow's up there. And it may be a bit out there, but I think what St. Louis wants to do, they want NHL ready guys. And Colby Barlow.
St. Louis has expressed that they want to turn it around quickly too. They've been after a lot of good players too, and I see this as a good pick too. Colby Barlow is a guy who can jump into the lineup instantly.
And this is around the position where, like, the top end of where scouts have him ranked, it's 8, 9, and 10. And I think that this is the perfect team for him to go to.
I think there are better players available, but St. Louis' situation, I'd let it slide. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
So now Arjun's got Vancouver. He's obviously a Canucks fan, so he's definitely looked into this pick a lot.
Yes, sir. Canucks fan here, sadly.
So Bo's been suffering for a long ass time.
This situation on the GM, I wish I was the GMIRL too, because there's so many good players available at this pick, and I know we're gonna screw it up. But me personally, looking at who's on the board, only one defenseman has gone so far, Ryan Backer, and Vancouver, they really need defense. They've needed it for a while. There's 2 defensemen available here, Pelika and Willander. Now, I think Pelika has definitely more. He has a higher ceiling, has more potential than Willander. But if you look at what the Canucks need, they need a defenseman who can defend. And Willander, he's comfortable on the right side. He could be that future D partner for Quinn Hughes.
That one seems
so
to be
that's
the
my
obvious
pick,
one for
Tom
the Canucks,
Willander.
honestly. I feel like they took him out to dinner, right? I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, they took him out. So they've taken out a couple players, but they've taken out Willander twice, and he's the only player
Right.
known they took out
And
multiple times.
I feel like obviously this isn't about like who we think they'd pick, but I also think he just fits. You know, he's a good two-way defender. He can put the puck in the net. You know, like get people in a position to put the puck in the net. He's a good passer.
He's good. I saw a scout compare him to Charlie McAvoy and Rasmus Anderson,
Yeah.
and obviously you'd love to have that on your team. I can see him as an Ekholm type of defenseman too. I think if he hits that potential, he's just that guy that's going to be an analytical darling. I think it'd be
Yeah,
a great pick.
he's definitely like that guy. He's definitely analytical darling like status. I feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he has an edge to
for
his game,
Arizona
too.
here for sure. For Arizona here, I'm gonna go with Edward Sale. The reason why is because he's killing it in Czechia right now, and he's a player that I've seen in the top 10 of a lot of mock drafts. A lot of people think he might go to Detroit. I don't think Detroit takes him. I just don't. I think he's a little bit of a reach at that pick.
Yeah, he is the type of player. He just sounds, you know, and he plays the type of player that they would pick up.
Yeah.
But I think that he's just not realistic for Edward Sale to go up that high. I
Yeah.
think
He won't fall below.
he is a high tens draft pick for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think he goes top 10.
And he's described as
Even
like
here.
the kind of player that's just like, you know, he's known for his passing. You know, he's a really good passer. Like very good. And he's really good shooting like off the rush, like as a skater. And you know, and he's like really good at puck control. Like he's got those are the things that really going for him from his highlights at least. Like he's a big time puck control, big time, really good at the stick kind of player.
And being Arizona, having 2 top 12 picks, getting a center and a defenseman, that's big for Arizona.
Absolutely.
Arizona, this is what I believe. Like, if they move or not, Arizona needs to draft well. They have the picks to draft well,
Yeah.
and this is the year to really start that rebuild. Because they've totally fumbled it in the past 5-10 years. So this is the time. They've set themselves up nicely, and they really need to
Fun fact about Arizona, actually.
execute on it.
Fun fact about Arizona, posted it today on the Twitter. This is actually so hilarious. Is that they're actually their highest positioning in attendance since their inception in 1996 is 18th. That is the only time they've ever not been in the bottom 10 in attendance, and they have been in the bottom 5 every year since
Move the
07.
team.
So
Yeah.
they something needs to change.
Yeah, I don't know what their plan is with Arizona.
Yeah.
But even when they were in the playoffs in that
I think
time
if you
period,
want
so-
hockey, I think hockey in Arizona could work, but it needs a break. I think you gotta move the
It
team
needs
and then
the
try again in 20
backing.
years.
It needs the backing of like the government too,
Yeah.
in the state, and it just doesn't have it.
I mean, it's facts. They don't want a hockey team there right now. Stop forcing it on them.
You know, hockey in Arizona is like me at the bar, man. You know, I just need a break sometimes. You know, you just can't keep going when it's going terrible for you. But now it's Buffalo for Amaan. So
Yeah, Buffalo. I was thinking long and hard about it. I mean, Buffalo is one of those teams that like I see them as a fringe like playoff team. I mean, they've drafted very well. They've developed their players very well with Dylan Cousins and Tage Thompson, JJ Peterka, Jack Quinn. Where I see some need personally is defensively. I think they have Darlene and Owen Power, but I think that picking Sandin Pelika here, it sets him up to have a great third defenseman.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that having that like good of a defensive, well, I'm blanking on the word, my bad. But I think just having that good that quality on defense is It makes them a better team.
I agree though, because you look at the teams who have won the cup. I mean, this year, but the years
Yeah,
before,
I mean,
the
look at-
defense
I-
has been stacked.
I mean, even
If Buffalo
Vegas.
could do that, it'd be sick. I think Buffalo's looking for a forward here. I think Buffalo's looking for a forward here. But if Pelika, if he's there, you have to take him.
I mean,
13.
just thinking about like teams with strong defenses, it makes sense. But I don't want to intrude on Arjun's pick here,
Okay.
Pittsburgh.
Well, speaking of guys being there, I had a lot of players in mind for Pittsburgh's pick. I know they're more analytical now with their department. So I had a couple players in mind, but this player is still on the board here. And Pittsburgh really needs anything. I'm taking Gallagher Dvorsky with this pick. I mean, he's fallen this far. You have to take a shot on him.
I like that pick. Yeah, Dvorsky's one of those players. It's like high. How I see it is like high ceiling, high floor, or low floor. You know what I mean? But he was a great player in Sweden. I just don't. Yeah.
I'm not very high on him if he's picked in the top 10 or like top 8, 7. If he's there at 14,
he's
you have to take him.
100% a lottery pick. He's just not a top 10 pick.
So
He's a
for
low lottery
Nashville
guy.
here, this is the player that I would take if I was Pittsburgh. Actually, this is what I would take because I just someone posted something about Toronto under Dubas and they have been adjusted for like what pick they have. They've been second in picking players based on point production. They love players who get points and can put the puck in the net or just like I said, get points. And I think this player gets points and also has a lot of upside. It's Matthew Wood. I think Nashville will pick him up. I really like Matthew Wood. I think he's a really good player. He's been played amazing for Connecticut this season in the NCAA. If anyone follows the NCAA,
I agree.
really good player. And I think he could be a steal. I really do think he could be a steal in this draft. He's someone, as a Penguins fan, I really want the Penguins to pick him up. Either him or Gabe Perreault. But I think he's better than Gabe Perreault. I think Perreault is a product of being on a really good team, and so that's why he puts in a lot of points. I think Wood, his points are that high, like 132 points in 63 games. Like, it's because his team's dominating.
Yeah.
I think Wood is the better player, and that's why I would pick him.
That's a take, but I respect the take a lot.
Tell me how you really feel.
And how do I feel?
Oh shit.
I don't got to take. But I do got to take on the Calgary Flames, all right?
Yeah.
And what the hell are they doing out there? What, man, the Calgary Flames. I don't got many words for them.
No. As a Canucks fan, I enjoy
I just don't know what they're doing. I mean, they're paying big amounts of money for bad players or for old players. They fumbled Jonathan Huberdeau. I don't know. I just don't know, and I don't see them drafting well in this draft. I just don't see it. But I'm the one drafting for them.
Whoa.
And
Oh,
I did.
No way.
no shot.
I thought about this. Yo, you want to let me draft or what's up? Like we can move
The
on.
GM announced
Like,
he's making the pick at the draft
it'd
table.
be better. They honestly, they might as well not make the pick. Picking, to be honest.
I just think they should have fold the whole damn franchise. That's what I think.
My God.
But honestly, I think that the Calgary Flames pick Gabe Perreault here. I think.
I don't think he falls below 16. He's too good.
Yeah, I'm just saying like 132 points in 63 games is no fluke. It's no fluke. It could be his points, the amount of points he's scoring could be a fluke just because of the team. Yes, but
He's a good
I'm saying
player.
if some of those guys were on that team, he's still scoring 100 plus points.
Yeah.
I still believe that. And I think that if the Calgary Flames don't fumble his development, he could be a very solid like second line player in the NHL.
Yeah.
But it's Calgary. You know how that goes.
There's a player here that's not being selected that I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised. And I want to see it.
Well, I believe in Eiserman a little bit, and this is a player like I was considering taking him with Pittsburgh, but Dvorsky fell, so I took him. But if I'm Detroit here and this player's still there and the upside is way too high, I think he's the second flashiest player after Bedard in this draft. And he's just an amazing player to watch. I'm taking Andrew Crystal.
Crystal. I was thinking
He was
Crystal
a
for Calgary.
beast with
I
Kelowna this
almost did it.
He was-
I
he
almost
was.
pulled it off.
And he's one of
but-
those players. Why is he falling? Because of his size.
Yeah.
And those players always
Um,
turn out well. Most of the time, they turn out well.
It is true. And what surprises
Most of
me
the
with
time.
him is he was ranked fairly high. He was like around 8 to 10 to start the year, and he fell for no reason. He had a great year.
He had a very weird trajectory with his rankings. He started off low, he rose
Yeah,
up
it
the
didn't make sense- it
rankings
doesn't
really
make sense to
fast, and
me.
he fell
I
off
always
near the
viewed
end
him
of
as
the
a great
season.
player.
I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Next pick.
So Winnipeg, this is the player that I think is being projected pretty high in the draft. A lot of people consider this prospect a meme player. Like, if my team selects this player, I'm gonna die. But I think he'll get
Yeah.
selected here. It's Nate Danielson. I think Winnipeg is
Yep.
the type of team that takes him for sure. He fits their molds. They're gonna be. They need a center in the future for sure, and he's a good two-way guy. Realistically speaking, two-way guys don't, analytically speaking, two-way guys don't translate that well in the NHLE models that I've seen because they don't put up points. They're two-way.
Mhm.
There's no real way. That's the biggest criticism of those models. There's no real way to check out how good a player's defense
Well,
is.
I heard from, I don't know if it was Jay Pressure tweeted it, but he said two-way forwards perform really well points-wise, and that's why Nate Danielson's card, I don't think it's too bad. I think it's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Me-
78 points in 68
me
games.
with
like,
Nate
he's fine.
Danielson,
Right.
I think he's a good player. I think he'll be an NHLer. It's just, he's rumored to go, he could go as high as like 7. Vancouver has talked to him too. I don't think he should go that high.
Yeah, I don't think he's a top 10 player. I think he's a fringe lottery.
I think if a team took him around 15, they got themselves a good player.
Yeah. I do agree with that. He's big. He's a big body, and GMs love that. So,
Whoa.
They love big bodies.
I know you like big bodies.
Yeah.
Can I get
Okay.
a
Alright.
Lenny? Okay. Amaan.
All right.
Fuck.
Chicago Blackhawks, right?
Yeah.
Now, I've heard at 19, right? My guy's always been Jaden Perron. I really like him. I'm not gonna pick him here because I just don't think he's that good. But
Imagine the GM walking up onto the stage, announcing your name.
Yeah,
like,
I
I'm
like
not
Jaden
into
Perron.
that.
He's
You're
my
good.
guy here,
I
but
just
he's
wanted to
honestly
put it out
sucks.
there
He
that
should
I
kill
fuck
himself.
with Jaden Perron. I just wanted to put it out there. But who I do fuck with a lot, and who the Blackhawks, there's been a lot of rumblings that the Blackhawks have him high on their boards for the 19th pick, is Samuel Honzek. Honzek? Is it Honzek or
I was
Honzek?
gonna
Oh.
pick him.
Vancouver Giant. He is
Mhm.
solid player. He was probably the best player on the Vancouver Giants this season. He is a big player who can skate. And damn, I just sound
I
like
think everybody can
60
skate.
year. I sound like GMs.
He's a
Damn.
good player. He can
Um,
skate. He has legs.
But
You
I
sound
think
like
I
every,
think
you sound like
I
every
think Hon-
retread in a
yeah, no, I just caught myself. I
Something
described
wrong,
it simply. I described him simply. But
He's a big guy.
he's a
gets
center
in-
too. The
gets in
Blackhawks need
corners.
centers.
Hard worker. First guy,
Yeah.
last guy out.
I mean, he's got a Hlinka Gretzky Cup silver medal too. So I mean, you can't go wrong with that. But I think this is the perfect range for Honzek. I think it's the perfect range. And I could see him as his ceiling is a second line center. That's what I see him as. And
Okay,
that's what the
Seattle.
Blackhawks need.
We got Seattle here.
Seattle, that's me. Seattle has some good prospects forward-wise. They have Shane Wright. They have Beniers. He's
Yeah.
probably gonna win the Calder, to be honest. I think they could use a defense, and a very underrated defenseman who's probably going to go around this range is Dmitry Sinishev. I'm taking him. I think, yeah, he's very underrated. He's a big body like Amaan. Amaan loves big bodies.
Yeah.
He's a big body.
It's just how it
but
be.
he-
It's
he
just
can
how
skate-
it be.
with that.
He can
Guys,
skate
just-
really well for his size.
It's
I think
just how it
really
be.
well for
NHLE
his
models
size.
hate him
He's like-
because he gets no points, but I think he's way more than that. Like,
Yeah, no, he skates. If you watch him play anybody, you're gonna be amazed how good he skates. He's I think 6'4", 6'5", and he skates like a ballerina.
I
Yeah.
think 6'5", yeah.
Very good stick too. Something underrated about his game. He only had 2 penalty minutes this season in 18 games in the KHL. So
Damn.
he's not like the kind of guy that will, get flimsy with his stick. He's
I think he's the second, or me personally, I have him ranked as my second or third best defenseman available
I agree.
full draft.
all right. So it's me, Minnesota. Low-key forgot that is my pick, but I think this is a player that Minnesota loves to pick Americans. They like their American players. The city likes their American players.
Chud bracket.
I think that this pick could either be one of 2 players, because in my opinion, Minnesota should grab a winger in this draft, which is why I'm actually picking Mikhail Goliath because I just lied. I literally lied. So
GM saying mind
Damn,
games.
what the?
yeah, I completely lied to you guys. I said they're
Bro
like
just
Americans.
li-
I said they're
yeah,
like-
imagine.
Bro's pretending he's on,
Imagine
like,
the
American
GM
Idol.
pulls up. He's like, "Oh yeah, I lied. We're going with him."
Well, I mean, I've seen the GM. Speaking of the next team, I've seen the GM of the Flyers pull up and forget the fucking name of the player he picks and the players.
Yeah.
So
Well, luckily, I have not forgotten who I was gonna pick,
Yeah.
so we are good. I'm going with Braden Yeager. He's one of those guys who's ranked very high at the beginning of the season, and he's just slowly fallen down.
He has
the
a lot of
boards
holes
now.
kind of
Nice.
mid-year, honestly, with the
Yeah,
W.
I won't lie. He had very high expectations. He didn't meet those expectations, but I think that for Philadelphia at this pick, it makes sense. If he fills out the holes in his game, if he fills out the weaknesses that he has,
Whoa.
and he turns them into strengths, he could be a great player.
Yeah.
And Philadelphia, I mean, they just need to load up on prospects. They're just a horde franchise. I mean, like, that's just all I have to say. That's just all I have to say. I just can't. It hurts my brain talking about the Philadelphia Flyers.
And actually, you should
Poor
ask me
Nick.
how much it hurts my
Anyways,
brain to hear you
it's my
talk about
pick.
the Philadelphia Flyers. Jesus.
There's no enthusiasm. It just
Okay, next pick, the Rangers. The Rangers are also a dog shit franchise, low key.
What are they doing? Like,
But,
they had
the
such a
GM
good
of the
rebuild
Rangers-
going, and they just shat on it.
Yeah. They've been through 3 coaches now, but I'm the GM now. It's Chills, and we're gonna keep this pick. And with it, I think realistically this guy goes lower in the draft, maybe 2nd round, maybe late 1st round. But I'm gonna stick on my trend of picking small players. I'm picking Jaden Perron.
Oh. there
I
it
think
is.
he's having, like, his skill is. I don't know why he's ranked so low. Even with his size, I would still have him ranked around 15. I don't know why he's ranked so low.
yeah.
He's fast. He's skillful.
Mm.
Yeah.
Dude,
That's
Elite Prospects
how
has
I
him
feel.
29.
I mean,
Elite Prospects has him as
Yeah.
29.
I think he's a fantastic player, and I personally really want the Blackhawks to pick him, but it's just everything I've seen, they're not going to, and it sucks.
if he-
Because I
yeah, I
think
just think he's the best player
I'm just looking at
available.
Braden Yeager's name right now,
Yeah.
but Jaden Perron is fucking sick.
Well, yeah, well, I mean, the Blackhawks won't pick him. Clearly, you won't either. So, I mean,
Yeah,
Amaan,
I mean-
you won't pick him either. You were like, my boy Jaden Perron, but I'm not gonna pick him.
I was just being a little realistic with my pick.
Okay, so Nashville here, I could see them going for a defenseman if there's a good one available at this pick, but there's not for me. I feel like the 4
It's
consensus defensemen. are pretty high.
Dragicevic.
Dragicevic is the
Hayden
best
Price.
one left in my opinion, and he's a late round pick. I don't think he's a 24 because he's got so many holes in his defensive game. You have no idea.
He's
full
it's a
offensive
St.
guy.
Louis at 29 type of pick.
For sure. We'll talk about that when we get there. You fucking idiot. I'm just messing up. So I think that they'll pick this player did a really good year with Michigan this year, and his stats might be inflated by playing with Michigan. We don't really know, but I liked how he played when I watched the Frozen Four this year in the NCAA tournament. It's gonna be Gavin Brindley. I think they're gonna pick Gavin Brindley at this pick. I like him.
That's
I
a
think he's a good player.
I like that.
I like that pick, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan had a powerhouse program this year. Fortunately, they couldn't win, but I mean, there's talent all up and down, and we'll see if Brindley was a product of the talent around him or he was a part of that high-end talent. With St. Louis, though,
This is where this is where it gets tough.
I spent a lot of time thinking about
it really
this.
opens up. Yeah.
Yeah, it really gets tough here because there's a lot of
The late
guys
round
who
really
go
could be
here.
anybody.
I mean, yeah, I was looking at Quentin Musty. I was thinking
Why'd
about.
you say it like that?
This guy's gonna name every player in the draft and then not take any of them.
You want me to continue? You want me to continue?
No, he
You want
went
me to
Quentin.
continue?
He went Quentin Musty. I was like, why did he say his name like that?
This guy's about to name every player
I
in
was
the
thinking
draft.
about Riley Height too, but I think Otto Strenberg.
Okay, go.
I named 2 players before I named the player that I was decided to pick. Otto Stenberg. He played
that's good.
amazing in the J20 National with Frölunda's J20 team. Also scored 3 points in the SHL. Not that bad. But I think he fits what St. Louis is. When I think of St. Louis, I think of a fast team.
I don't.
Especially
That team
the
sucks.
Blackhawks haven't played them. Well, not today. But when I think about St. Louis,
When were they
5,
fast?
7
They had like
years ago.
the slowest players. They had like all these old guys.
They've always been like a big team.
They've had like defensemen like Parayko, Petrangelo, and wingers like
Alright,
Perron
yeah.
and Steve.
So I'm picking Otto Stenberg.
Me when I lie. Me
It's
when I
Arjun's
lie.
turn.
Me when I lie.
It's Arjun's turn. Yeah, no. I'm. Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, I'll take the spotlight off you, don't worry.
God.
But I'll put it back on you. I'm taking Quentin Musty. Yeah. Honestly, Musty, it just makes sense as a San Jose pick too. Really want to be tough to play against, then that's Musty's whole game. Oh,
I'll take things I've said about Amaan for 500.
Yeah,
please.
maybe a little bit.
Yo, what?
Okay, Colorado.
Nah. Yo, can we get to the next pick, bro? It's Colorado. Hey, let's go. Come on. Let's move on.
So, this next player, I'm thinking that Colorado, Sakic probably doesn't give a shit about this pick. His team is already really good, and he's got a contention window, and he might even trade this pick if I'm being honest with you. Between now and the draft, I think he might to get some value out of it, get some players, maybe get a cheap player because their main need is to fill the hole left by Landeskog's surgery. So if they do have this pick, I think they go for a player that I like his scoring ability. I think he's a good player, and I think he's got a really low floor, but if he turns out well, he could be really good. Daniel Boots, the left winger.
I like that.
I like that.
I think around there is good for him. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's one of those guys who's very low floor, but he could turn out into a good producer. I would say very low floor.
Now, it's Amaan's pick now, and if you follow Hockey Hotline on Twitter, they're rumored to take somebody around here, and he's still available.
This is when we find out that Amaan does not follow Hockey Hotline on Twitter.
So I actually do on Twitter, but these past few days, I've been with my girlfriend, bro. I've been busy,
Oh my God.
I've not been, not been keeping up with the hockey news. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
Toronto, going with Riley Height.
Oh. The guy they interviewed, the guy who's currently training in Toronto, even though he's not from there, they pass on him. They take Riley Height.
I've
Yeah,
not
we should
been
just take him
keeping
in
up with
29,
Toronto Maple
so it
Leafs
makes it
news.
funnier.
I would, but I don't like him as a player, so I'm not going to. Anyways, 29, St. Louis. They took Colby Barlow earlier, and he's already game.
Yeah.
I like that pick. And I don't really like the defenseman available. I think it really falls off. So I'm just gonna go.
Yeah, it falls off. It's
Oh, a
crap.
lot, yeah. I'm gonna go with, I think, a forward who's just the best forward available. It's Callum Ritchie. It works.
That works.
Mm.
He's a good
That
player.
is a good
He's-
player. You know, point per game player with Oshawa.
Good all-around
game,
Very
too.
OHL. Who's good.
Just fits St. Louis.
All right, so when Jim puts that in, I'll tell you guys my last
Oh,
pick of the
God.
day. Actually,
Whoa.
is
Oh.
with the Carolina
You wanna-
Hurricanes.
Embarrass him on. Take his shot.
I would love. Honestly,
Was-
though, I agree. Though I don't like this.
I think
play,
his
so
big holes in his defensive game. Nobody knows what we're talking about.
yeah.
Oh, it's a
I also
defenseman?
don't think. Yeah, it's. I mean, it was very off. I mean, come on. We literally talked about it earlier. I think the next team could take him, but Amaan doesn't know who this is. I'm 99% sure, so it's gonna be really funny. when he doesn't.
Dragicevich?
Okay. he does.
Oh, you got it.
Are
You
we
got it.
talking
You got it.
Caden?
He got it!
You got it.
Oh, alright. It's not my pick. It's
So,
Carolina.
yeah, Amaan obviously passed on the guy that they were working out and chose some bum. So, I'm gonna go with for Carolina here. I'm gonna pick Oscar Fisker-Molgaard from HV71. I think he had a really good
Ooh.
year in the SHL, and he's a good player.
I like that
He's
pick.
a very
That's
good.
all I gotta say.
Yeah.
You know, I think a player who produces like that in a men's league. You know,
I think he's one of those guys who goes early second round and instantly pops off.
Anytime.
And one of those top 10 teams is gonna get two great players.
Yeah, I think any 18-year-old, 17-year-old that produces well in a men's league like the SHL or Liga, he's going to be good. I think it's you have to be good at some certain like level to perform well.
Wow,
And
insightful.
thank you.
Words of wisdom.
You know, I'm
You're gonna make me cry.
really with it today. You know. I can't stay serious, bro. I thought hard about this Habs pick.
Really? Did you?
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I did. Yeah, I was like, what makes the most sense for them, and what makes the most sense to me for this pick? It's Kasper Houtonen.
Honestly, I know you're
No,
the
but
GM, but if I see I could see Montreal making that pick. He sounds like a Montreal player, a Finnish guy. Yeah.
They
Yeah,
love
yeah.
their Scandinavians. They love picking them.
Mhm.
They really
Yeah.
do. And I think he's a good player. I think Halstonen is actually who I think I actually really could see them pick. They always pick
Yeah.
a high. They always pick a Scandinavian high in the draft, like in the first 3 rounds every time. They see a lot of value in players playing good in men's leagues or those leagues. You know what I mean? Or like the fact that they can develop those prospects in the men's leagues as opposed to, you know, in like the WHL or OHL or something like that. So with that, we'll bring us to our last pick with Arjun here for the Stanley Cup champions. Yeah, the Vegas after 6 long years.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. They just won the Stanley Cup. We're recording this just
Yeah.
recording
Horrible
this just
night
after
for
they
me.
won.
But he got the dog. He's just not happy.
So I'm stuck on 2 players. Vegas, they won the cup. They don't care. They won the cup. I don't think they care, but I care. I think if I had the Montreal pick, I would have picked Ethan Gauthier. I think it just makes sense.
does
He's
make a
French.
lot of
I think he's a
sense.
good player. That's who I would have went for. But I don't want to pick this guy solely because I don't know how to pronounce his name. But I'm gonna pick him because I've seen video on him and he's a sick defenseman. He's probably gonna go in the 2nd round, maybe even 3rd round. But yeah, I'm gonna go for it. Adeen Morin.
Oh.
Who?
Yeah.
No.
Maureen,
He's,
I didn't see the
Alright.
name. Oh,
He's the guy who plays for
Adeen
Moncton in
more.
the QMJHL, the defenseman.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
he's a really solid defenseman too. I like his game. He's good offensive production. He has a sick pass. He looks like Kun Hughes out there. It is the QMJHL. But with that pick, you just won the
Yeah.
cup. I think you can risk it.
Yeah.
As a defenseman,
72
draft
points
-1.
in 67 games too. I mean, 17 in 17
I
and
hope I
12
didn't butcher
games
his
in the
name too much.
playoffs. I mean,
And honestly, these picks for the
He
cup
could be a-
winners and these picks for good teams are huge because
They are.
this is how you stay.
And
cup
a player
winner.
like Morton can
Pick
change
good
your franchise.
players.
He could be
Yeah.
a Paul. I think he has the ability to become a top 2 defender easily. That power play 1 guy too. He has those traits, the passing. He looks for tips.
Yeah, he has those traits. Yeah, exactly.
mm.
So, well, guys, we're here. It's the end of the draft. I'm gonna do a quick little recap, just scrolling through the picks. The Hockey Gods picked Bedard and Fantilli. I had Carlson, then Michkov, Benson, Reinbacher, Smith, Moore, Leonard, Barlow, Willander, Sale, Sandin Pelika, Dvorsky, Wood, Perot, Crystal, Danielson, Hanzek, Simashev, Gulyayev, Jaeger, Perron, Brindley, Stenberg, Musty, Boot, Height, Calamirchi, Fisker, Molgard, Haltunen, and more. And some notable names that didn't get picked. Grayson Sachin from the Thunderbirds didn't get picked. He's ranked pretty highly on some lists. Lucas Dragicevich, who is
I think he's
being
going to
looked at
Toronto.
by Toronto. I
Yeah.
think Toronto has made it very crystal clear that they want to pick him. I don't think anyone.
They really want a defenseman.
I think so too, guys. I think so
I
too.
think they've been looking for that defenseman who can move the puck for a while too. Makes sense.
Yep. And that's really all we have for today's video, guys. Thank you guys for coming out. I'm gonna try my absolute best to edit this to make this not a literal as long as the Godfather trilogy, but I hope this works out well. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Help us think of an intro, and thanks for staying so long if you have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and follow our Twitter and
Yes.
Yeah.
Instagram.
Follow
Instagram,
our Twitter. Our
subscribe,
Twitter is sick.
like the video. Twitter only produces bangers.
Yeah,
Only
this
bangers.
guy knows a lot
Only
about Twitter.
bangers.
He's been
Exactly.
following that account for a long time.
Yep.
And
Every
by the
week.
time this comes
Every
out, you
week.
might not know about it. I think this will be after. We're having a giveaway right now on the Twitter. You just gotta follow, retweet, comment, and mention 2 friends, and you get a chance at a $25, one of 2 $25 NHLShop.com gift cards.
Yeah.
And with that, guys,
So
that's
y'all
the,
get it.
that's the end of the
See ya.
video. And peace, guys, from the rest of us. Cheers,
See ya.
guys.